There's a lot to unpack here.
It is a lot going on. Yes, this
Like,
person is
I'm
just
sorry who
fed
hurt
up.
you. I'm sorry to the sunscreen that ruined you.
Welcome back to the Science of Sun Safety with dermatology physician Dr. Danny Mansour.
Okay, so let's actually turn to Reddit. People obviously do care about sun care. For some people, it's not always that simple. So there are a lot of cries for help here on what to do.
Sure.
So I actually stumbled on a few I hate sunscreen rants, which I'm sure you've heard of some. So this one says, dermatologists and skincare addicts love to rave on about sunscreen and that it is the most important product for your skincare routine. Sunscreen has almost become a trend and lifestyle product. Then why does it suck so much? If it would be so crucially important, would it not be top priority to design it better? The fact that you need to reapply it every 2 hours or so is insane to me, and people just buy into it. Imagine if you were told you have to reapply mascara every 2 hours and no one would buy it anymore because that is just a bad product. And then you need time for it to sink in. So if you apply sunscreen, do your makeup, you're left with 1 hour of that stuff actually doing its job. So
there's a lot to unpack here.
It is a lot going on. Yes,
Like,
this person is
I'm
just
sorry who
fed
hurt
up.
you. I'm sorry to the sunscreen that ruined you. There's
the last straw. Yeah.
But they do bring up a lot of good points that we can easily address. So some people don't like the feel of sunscreen, and I think that for some people it kind of stops there. I don't like sunscreen, therefore I will not use it, therefore I will not do anything else. But there's lots of other ways that are just as helpful and mitigating the risks of the sun, including wearing sun protective clothing. So clothing in general typically is okay from blocking UV rays. Not all clothing is equal. Actually, I'm wearing a linen shirt right now. This is not going to be the best to protect you from the sun. Like you can see, it's almost see-through in some capacities. And then there's actually lots of companies nowadays, which I think is excellent, that create their own sun protective gear. And this is specifically gear that is super lightweight. Lots of there's even swim trunks and full-on swimsuits you can wear. There's certainly other ways. So when people tell me that I don't like to wear sunscreen, that's fine. I think that's totally okay as long as you are still adhering to some other ways that help to mitigate your risks, not going out during peak hours, like I mentioned, wearing sun protective clothing, seeking shade, all those things.
That's a really encouraging message.
It's also kind of like me trying to make sure that, no excuses. Like there's lots of ways. So, we can work together. We can find something that works for everyone. And it's just having to have a bit of openness to employing some of the different techniques. Why does it suck so much to apply sunscreen? I would argue, have you just not found the right sunscreen for you? Mm-hmm. And like I said, so if you really do care, these skincare addicts and the dermatologists, the crazy dermatologists who care so much about your skin, it's going to require a little bit of work. Like you're going to have to try a few to see if there's one that you like in terms of how it feels, how it smells. Like these are all considerations that are actually not lost on the manufacturers of the sunscreens. Like, when I go to these conferences and you speak with many of these companies, like they will address many of these points. Be like, oh, this one we like remove the smell so that some people have a lot of complained about it. These are big corporations that want you to buy their products, so of course they're going to actually put the effort into trying to make something that like people would like to use. But it will require you to do some of your own kind of homework and try a couple of different options and see if there's one that kind of sticks and works for you with just how it feels. There's lots of sunscreen formulations. Some are cream, some are lotion, some are ultra fluid and like blend in almost immediately. Some are even serums. Some are powders nowadays. Like I'm sure there's like some formulations. Obviously, tried and true will be some form of a lotion that you apply to your face, and you can maybe touch up with the powder throughout the day. But there's lots of formulations, so I would encourage someone to just don't lose hope. Keep trying. It depends on how determined you are and how finicky your skin is, or how finicky you believe your skin is, because sometimes what people are attributing as a reaction to a sunscreen is not necessarily true. So again, like that's something you want to bring up with your dermatologist, just to kind of have that discussion. We're happy to talk about that with you, really. Now, the application. I completely understand the kind of disconnect that some people have when they read the label that says, apply, make sure to let sit for 30 minutes prior to sun exposure, XYZ. Does that mean that it takes 30 minutes for the sunscreen to start actually kick in? No. Sunscreen will work almost the moment that you put it onto your skin. Okay? If there's someone who tells me I can't wait 30 minutes, therefore I'm not going to apply sunscreen. And for people, that is their reason. They're like, well, I don't have time. Like, what is the point? Like, I just won't even bother using it. And for those people, I just say apply it. Forget this 30-minute rule. Like, protection is going to be more important than having none. Okay, right. We know that the moment you put it onto your skin, it is working. Like, it is doing its job. You have to remember that many of these products, like their indications or their instructions, are because of how they were tested in a perfect environment controlled lab setting. So in that light, I would just apply your sunscreen, make it a part of your day routine. And that's the easiest way to make sure that you're using it daily. So I apply it every single day. I take a shower in the morning, I step out of the shower, I do my basic skincare, and last thing, I put on my sunscreen. It's just like clockwork. I don't even think about it. It takes no time at all. Does that mean if you don't reapply, there's literally no point? Absolutely not. You are getting the benefit of that sunscreen. The only thing that, is a hindrance to you actually using sunscreen regularly is a lack of imagination. Like, there are ways to get around these things. And again, when we're talking about this reapplication every 2 hours, it's important in a super ideal setting. Does that mean it's the end of the world if you don't do it? No. Would we like you to do it? Sure. Do I do it? If I'm outside, yes. I just do it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have the same issue, clearly. Like, I find it to be a nuisance. I just squirt it on and put it all over me, and good. We're good to go for another 2 hours. I'll probably apply it more regularly than 2 hours because I lose time and I get worried. And you're if it's been 2 hours, I don't know. I'm just gonna apply. Let's. And it's all about making things a habit. The more you make things something that you don't even think about, the more you're willing to actually continue doing it. But know that just using sunscreen in the morning, whenever before you go out, is always going to be better than just saying forget it because I can't adhere to every 2 hour regime. That's just do it. Some is always going to be way better than none.
I love that. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Just having some sort of routine will be good. Yeah. And we also had some people on Reddit talking about application technique or reapplication techniques, but 2 fingers versus 3 fingers. What is your technique? I don't know if there's a right way or a best way, but
so we have a general rule of thumb of how much sunscreen you should be applying to your face, anywhere from a quarter to half a teaspoon, kind of for your face and your ears. It's so funny that you actually asked this question because just yesterday I was on Instagram scrolling and I came across this cosmetic chemist, a chemist with a PhD, and she went through the whole 2 finger rule, and I'd heard about it, but it was fun. She squeezed out 2 fingers of sunscreen, then took a quarter teaspoon and scooped it up into the teaspoon, and if it filled it, then she goes, there you go, that your 2 fingers are enough. And I tried it this morning and I was like, oh, it works.
All right.
I was like, oh yeah, this is legit. I tried it literally just before doing this. I was like, I'm curious if this actually works. In general, normally I just glob a ton of stuff. I'll do at least a quarter or more dollop onto my hand, usually a little bit more, because I always err on the side of caution because I know that everyone under applies, and probably I'm no different. So I try to make up for that by going a little extra. And even though I'm applying more, you don't, it's not white cast, right? You don't that's the thing. I put effort into trying to find one that I really liked, and it is obviously paid off for me because I love using it. I feel good in the morning after I've used my sunscreen. There's of course a mathematical amount, but we're not going to people don't even want to apply it. I'm not going to be you need to use 2 grams per extra. That's fine. We don't need to go into that.
Oh no, we're not going technical.
We're just not going to touch that right now. I don't think people are going to use it.
Fair. And do you have a way to spread and lather on your face? I'm the type of person who just goes all over. I lazy.
Yeah. Honestly, whatever works for you. I tend to kind of just distribute it cheek, forehead.
Okay, you got the little dab thing. Okay.
And then don't forget your ears. That's a very common place people forget. we do see a lot of skin cancer in the ears because it it does project, so it does experience some of the sun's rays.
Right.
The back of the neck, like very like maybe not as much for women because for women who have long hair, but for men, you're gonna notice this now. Look when you're walking outside and someone just has like me, like a collar. You're gonna look and you'll see that some men, even if they look on the younger side of things, their neck is just like crinkly. It's just, and that's because of all of the sun damage that they have received accumulated over years and years and years, because we never think about this area.
But so what about for people who are breaking out when they use sunscreen? So this person says, I've tried to wear daily sunscreen for the last 13 years. I've tried hundreds of products at this point: physical, chemical, luxury, derm office brands, natural, organic, Korean, Japanese, baby moisturizers with SPF. I don't want to think about how much money I've spent looking for it. I hop from one product to another, terrified about what would happen to my treated skin. And then in August, I reached a breaking point with my acne after trying a tinted mineral sunscreen. So I stopped using everything. And it was best for my mental health to continue avoiding the sun during peak hours, invest in a few more hats and a few larger pairs of sunglasses, and enjoy my life rather than to obsess over the advice to wear SPF daily, even if it causes acne-related damage daily.
Listen, for this person, first of all, I commend you on how diligent you were in trying to find a sunscreen that works for you. I can completely appreciate how frustrating it is to try so many, not find one that works for you, just hoping. And then the conclusion you stumbled upon, I think, is actually a very reasonable thing. Like, as this person has pointed out, they have found other ways to protect themselves, and that's fine. Those things are just as important if you cannot find in any capacity a sunscreen that works for you. That's why when I said earlier, all it lacks is, a lack of imagination to actually find something that works for you. You can find ways, and there's multiple ways, and that's why it's important to tackle it from a multifaceted kind of approach when it comes to sun protection. Now, another thing I do want to mention is if you're someone who's struggling with some form of dermatologic condition, whether it's acne or rosacea or eczema or any of an allergic contact dermatitis, you might want to just touch base with your dermatologist, get a referral to make sure that you actually have the right diagnosis. I think everyone thinks that they know what acne is, and probably 9 times out of 10 people can recognize acne, but sometimes acne can be deceiving. It can be something completely different going on, and acne can be treated. We have great treatments for acne. So rather than trying to find a sunscreen that will give you less acne, you can just treat your acne and then use any sunscreen. Like I said, open your repertoire of the options available to you. Same thing, if you have eczema, there are things we can do to help treat eczema. There's things we can do to treat rosacea. There's lots of different things. So reach out, get in contact with your family doctor, get a referral to us. We're happy to have these conversations with you if you reach out. And then we can talk about other strategies, as this person has already kind of astutely pointed out, other things that they can do so that they can protect themselves and for their mental health and for overall skin health without necessarily using sunscreen.
That's really encouraging. And I think because it feels like, no one understands my skin the way that I do. But, being able to work with someone and to talk through that and tackle it together, I think is a really good way to kind of get around that.
Totally. And I think we live in an era where people just want an answer right
away. Right? They want to Google it. Yes, I've done the Google.
Like I said, sometimes it might not just be a one visit, to your dermatologist. It might require a follow-up. You might certain things might be required to get you to a point where things are working for you for a treatment or a strategy plan that works for your skin. Because like I said, this is, what we geek out about. We're happy to help if you, are able to have some patience and work with us and like I said, help us help you.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point of we think we might know the reason why we're having skin conditions, but maybe it's something else and we don't even realize it because we don't have the expertise that you do.
Exactly. I've gone to school for many a year. So just let me at least try to help.
Thanks for tuning in, and thank you so much, Dr. Danny Mansour, for chatting with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us tackle next. Until next time, don't believe everything you read on the internet.